Personal finance is one of the areas that I feel like a lot of people across the board, across color lines, struggle with.
A lot of folks may feel like wealth is not attainable to them.
When you start to realize that you have value, and it goes beyond just dollars, like you as a person have value, I feel like that also can change how you move.
Yeah. For me personally, life felt like, or wealth felt like monopoly. Like I just kept attaining things, but I never took the time to sit back and celebrate the things that I have been able to do, or the things that I prayed for that now all of a sudden I have, or that I have accomplished, and never took the time to be like, you know what, I actually did that.
It's amazing how many little things you just purchase.
Yeah, that you just be swiping.
Exactly.
That's me. I know my wealth advisor probably listening. Ashley, girl, I just be swiping. I'm sorry.
Money is a tool. It gives you options. It gives you more access. That's really, to me, how it's helped and transformed my life. It does give you a level of comfortability.
A lot of times we're just focused on, I need to put food on the table, I need to pay these bills, and you're not really tapping into the creative side of you. But once you become more conscious, you're able to identify, what is my purpose? What are some of the things that I really love to do? What do people say that I'm really good at? And then you can leverage those skills to then increase your cash flow.
I'm a Black woman. We can do anything.
We can do anything.
Exactly.
Literally. Wealth is attainable for all of us.
You're watching We Ain't Dying for This, a Black woman's guide to liberation. And I'm your host, Crystle Johnson. We are a community of Black women demanding our collective liberation through radically soft living. Each Thursday, we feature the stories of Black women who have set themselves free from the expectations of others and are choosing to live on their own terms.
Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of We Ain't Dying for This, a Black woman's guide to liberation. I am your host, Crystle Johnson, and we are a community of Black women who are committed to our collective liberation through radically soft living. I'm excited today to talk to my sis, Jasmine Smalls, about wealth as liberation. So welcome to the show, Jasmine.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have this conversation about wealth because as we talked about, a lot of folks may feel like wealth is not attainable to them. They don't know what it looks like in terms of like someone that they can touch and feel and talk to about it who looks like them. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation to show people that wealth is attainable for all of us.
Yeah, because it is. Like, let's just start there. Wealth is completely attainable. And I'm excited to dive into some strategies on how to get there, but then also hopefully shift some mindsets because it is completely possible. And I know for me, I had to go on my own journey personally to get to a place where I thought it was attainable. So I do get it from both perspectives, especially if you haven't seen it. To where, like you said, someone that looks like you or someone that you can actually touch and you see their lives go from, one space to another.
Yeah, totally. Well, before we jump into the seriousness of wealth as liberation, I like to start on a lighter note to do some this or that.
Okay.
So we'll start with your Sundays. Self-care Sunday or Sunday brunch?
At this point, self-care Sundays. Yeah, I don't know if maybe it's because I'm in LA and I've been out here for a while, but I'm over brunch, if I'm honest. I am over the brunches for the moment. I actually made an announcement to my friends. It was last year. I was like, hey, y'all. I'll go out. I'll step out every now and again, but
every Sunday is not happening.
No, not at all. So self-care for sure.
For sure. And I also think that has probably contributed to you building your wealth as well. Because when we go to brunch, like, we be brunching it up.
We brunch. And it's an easy 100. Like, out here in LA, no.
Yeah.
Over and over. And then you want to get outfits to brunch? No.
Exactly. Just go ahead and slide that into your high yield savings account.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, self-care.
Yeah. And what do you do for self-care Sundays?
Honestly, a lot of it is nothing. Like, if I'm honest.
I love that. And I have heard that a lot, actually, today. It's like, I just do whatever I want to do, which is often just rest.
Yeah, I just rest. I love a good walk. So I will go on a walk. I love a park, a beach, those type things. But I just give myself the freedom to do I do go to church. So that is a part of it. I do enjoy church and praising the Lord. But
praise him.
Yes. But no, I just do nothing. I don't even cook all the time. I'm like, I'm just going to sit here.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that for you. Yes, because that's exactly what Sundays should be like. Yes. It's just whatever I feel like doing or don't.
Exactly.
Feel like doing, for sure.
Exactly.
And what about spades or Uno?
For me, it'd be Uno.
Okay. What do you love about Uno?
Uno can have an intensity, especially if you're playing with new people. You have to establish the rules and those type things. So it can have an intensity to it, but I still feel like it's just a fun game.
Yeah.
I feel like spades, it's intense, but then also if you have a bad partner or if, it's just people talking across the board. Yeah. Like, it just becomes, it's a little bit more intense to where I feel like it's still fun because I feel like it's fun in a different way because you can trash talk a little bit more and you can, it is more strategy about it. Yeah. But I prefer Uno. I just feel like I play Uno more, so that would why I lean towards Uno more. Yeah.
I also think like with Uno, you just need to worry about yourself. Like, you don't need to worry about anyone else. But I think there's also this control factor to it. We're not talking about control today. But there is this control factor where it's like, oh, I can control what's happening because I'm just worried about myself as well. Both games are fun. I do agree. Spades can get a little out of hand.
Yeah. With the new Unos, though, because now they have to where some of the games you're if you put down a card you basically have to change hands, or like the flip Uno where all of a sudden you're playing a whole new deck of cards. So it can get a little extra where it's like, dag, I had a strategy, now I'm flipping my card over and I have nothing.
Yeah,
but it's all fun though. And actually the other part of that, my family plays Uno every time we get together, so I feel like for me it's also, it brings that level of just like family to me when we're playing. And so that's probably why I lean more towards that too.
Yeah, totally. And just to like land that point about having to switch hands and stuff. So I went on this cruise in November, December time frame. And one of the activities, as you know, like on cruises, there's always like all these different things on the itinerary for you to participate in. So they had an Uno tournament and you just play with random people who were in there. So they have like all these random 4-person teams, and whoever wins from the 4-person team then plays in like the final championship game of Uno. And I had 2 cards in my hand, girl. And this woman was like, go ahead, give me that.
No.
Let me get your hand. I was like, this is horrible. What?
And she probably had 20 cards.
So many cards. So many cards. And I was like, dang. And then she continued to win every hand after that. Because we basically like played a whole bunch of times. And whoever won the most got to do the championship game. So it was very interesting. I was like, you started this off by stealing my hand, and now I can't even win.
Exactly.
But it was still fun.
I was like, that's an analogy for a lot of things.
It truly is.
Right.
It truly is. So those who get it, you get it. And then the last one is about music. So would you say old school R&B or 2000s hip hop?
That's a tough one. I would go more towards, how old school? Like, to me, old school.
We talked about this in an earlier episode, too, because, like, old school could mean old school, like Luther Vandross.
Exactly.
Or it could mean, like, Brandy and Monica.
Right.
So whatever it means to you.
Okay. Technically, to me, old school is more like Luther. Yeah. But I feel like to answer this question, I'm just going to say old school because in the reality, I'm getting up there. So
don't do that.
So Brandy, Monica, like my songs, Mary J, like
yes.
Mariah,
that is old school
hands
to us
down,
right now, for sure.
Exactly, Mariah. So I'm gonna lean more towards that.
Okay,
yeah,
but not too much on the getting up there because
no,
I was just talking to someone earlier about ma'am. I was like, do not call me ma'am.
No,
my name is Crystle.
No, we're nowhere near ma'am level.
I feel like it's Auntie, like it's a respect, but still, I don't like it.
Auntie is enough. I'm fine with Auntie, and we can stay there.
But keep ma'am away from me, please.
Exactly.
Thank you. So that was really fun.
Yes.
I love learning more about you through the this or that. But tell us, who is Jasmine Smalls?
Who am I, man? So I'm going to start with actually who am I and not necessarily what I do.
Yes.
So I am the little girl in me. So I'm California born, but Virginia raised.
Wait a minute, pause, put a pin in it.
Yeah.
Where in Virginia?
Where, the 757.
No,
Chesapeake.
Really? Oh my God.
Yes.
So I am from Surrey County.
Yes.
And I went to school at ODU. Old Dominion
I went to Old
University.
Dominion.
Look at us.
Right.
Look at us.
Exactly. So yes, I am 757. That's where I grew up most of my life. I come from a military family, which is what took us there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of who I am, honestly, I'm a woman who likes to have fun. I like to laugh. I like to... And at some point, I decided I wanted to really get intentional about chasing my dreams. Mm-hmm. And so I moved from Virginia to LA about 8 years ago. I switched from social work to financial services. Because I realized as I was on the path, a lot of us want to help people, right? Mm-hmm. We want to help people. And so what I was realizing is in my spirit of helping people, I also wanted to be able to help my family. I wanted to be able to just help community in a different way. Mm-hmm. And so I just kept seeing that there was this common theme of people who were higher up in nonprofits or even in government a lot of times had some type of business background. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, well, I feel like I can do this. And so I decided to switch gears. And honestly, it was one of the best things I did for me. It was one of the best things I did. Because during my journey, it also caused me to discover who I am and what I like and what I don't like and how I personally want to show up in the community and for people and want to make impact. Yeah. And through that, I discovered that, yes, my heart is to help people, but personal finance is one of the areas that I feel like a lot of people across the board, across color lines, struggle with. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily that it's always complicated, but there are a lot of complicated feelings and emotions around it.
Yes.
And so all of that encompasses who I am, and even going into why I do what I do, because I really, really want to see people walking in a level of freedom. And when I say freedom, so when I look at freedom, the Bible says where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom, there's liberty. Mm-hmm. And so y'all, I can get churchy, so I'm not going to go there. But at the end of the day, I do feel like there's a level of when you start to realize that you have value and it goes beyond just dollars, like you as a person have value, I feel like that also can change how you move. Yes. And when you start to get intentional about your value and what that looks like and how you want to show up, it really does start to change not only how you see yourself, but how you show up. And so I know for me, long-winded, but who am I? I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl out here figuring it out one day at a time, and I decided I wanted to not be my biggest barrier.
Yeah, a lot of us are our biggest barrier. Yeah. And it's not on purpose. It's many times unconscious because we are afraid of what is on the other side. Yeah. And we often are like, what if it doesn't work out? But I think the question that we often need to ask ourselves instead is, what if it does?
What if it does?
What if it does work out? What if there's amazingness on the other side? And even if it doesn't work out how you wanted it to, you're going to learn a lesson. Like there's something that you're going to get out of it that's going to show you, like, where is it that I need to go next? What is it that I need to do? Who do I want to be? Like there's always going to be a lesson in everything that we do. But I think that because we have been conditioned to want to be perfect, to overachieve, to be afraid of being embarrassed, like all these different things are keeping us from trying and from addressing ourselves, like our own stuff. Yeah. And instead of doing that, we pile on top stuff. Mm-hmm. We overconsume. We focus on things that are outside of us. Yeah. Only to realize that if we don't fix the foundation of ourselves, then none of that other stuff really matters.
That's true. And I wanted to add to that because I do feel like we're scared of what if it doesn't work, but I also feel like sometimes we're more scared of what if it does. Because what if it does comes with a level of responsibility. It comes with a level of what if I actually do or become this person that I've dreamed of? Like, what does that look like? And sometimes that can be scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it all feels scary, for sure. Absolutely. I think that for me, like when I started questioning and challenging myself around, hey, I've been working towards these things. Now that I have them, I don't feel as happy as they said I should.
Right.
I feel like something is missing. And it was scary to say, hey, I want to switch and do something else, because it's like, oh shoot, like I'm at the top of the mountain. I mean, I'm sure there's like higher places that I can go, obviously,
right?
Yeah, but like I feel a level of comfort, I feel a level of security, I feel a level of safety, and it's like, what if I turn my back on this and go in a different direction? It's scary to think about not having the level of stability that's perceived, because obviously we work for companies, and companies at any point can be like, hey, we don't need you anymore.
Right.
So there really isn't any safety or security, but it is perceived to be. So we're just like, no, I don't want to do that because I'm afraid.
Yes. And fear, man, can be crippling, for sure. But like you said, stability and security also is perspective. Because in entrepreneurship, so I recently joined the entrepreneurship world, leaving my corporate job last April.
Wow. Okay.
To start my own consulting firm. So I do financial planning and consulting for, specifically I focus on Black women business owners, because I just feel like that is... One, there are alarming statistics when it comes to the wealth within the Black community, but specifically Black women. And business owners are a lot of times the backbone of our economy. Yeah. But like you said, a lot of times, even in this entrepreneurial world, people still have 9-to-5s. So I'm not saying do one or the other by any means. Yeah. But what I'm saying is the perception of security, I feel like sometimes people feel like entrepreneurship is more secure. Some people feel like 9-to-5 is more secure. But to me, honestly, it's more about how you set yourself up. It's more about how you're actually utilizing the resources that you have that can create more of the level of security. Because I have met people who make multiple 6 figures or even 7 figures that literally can't save $1,000 to invest because they're spending it all, or they're wearing it, or, they just don't have the best habits. Yeah. So to me, it's not even necessarily about entrepreneurship or 9-to-5. It's more about what are you actually doing with what you have. Yeah.
I love that, which I think leads me to the question that I have for you about wealth, and like, what are the lies that we tell ourselves about wealth? And it sounds like one of them is that you need to be at a certain level in order to even be able to attain it, when you just said, like, there are people who make multi 6 figures, 7 figures, who can't save money because their mindset is not in the right place.
Yes, that's definitely one of them. And then you mentioned it at the top of the this conversation as well, that it's not attainable. Because I feel like, especially us, right, Black women, women of color, we feel like we can't get to these certain levels. 6 figures is a goal, but then 7 figures is a goal, multiple 7 figures. And I feel like at some point we feel like in our minds mentally there's a ceiling, but there's not a ceiling. There's not a ceiling. And so that to me is probably one of the biggest, is that can you actually get there? And the answer is yes. And I don't want to get too technical, but let's say you go a traditional route, right? Like, let's say that you're someone who doesn't necessarily want or able to put away hundreds of thousands of dollars into investments. Let's say you do 7,000. So Roth IRAs, for example, are individual retirement accounts that you have the potential of taking out money tax-free. Let's say you put $7,000 away for 30 years and it's invested and you're able to get an annual return of 10%. That can get you to $1 million. And I know it's a longer path, but I just say that to say it is possible to get there. And imagine if you can put away more money.
Yeah.
Right?
Hold on. Let's double back. You said $7,000 per year for 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very attainable.
Yes.
I think. And I would not imagine that was like possible, because it feels like you need to be saving way more than that to get to $1 million and $7,000 a year. There's so many of these like envelope saving challenges where you can easily save $5,000 a year.
Exactly. And that's why I use that example, because to some 7,000 may be a lot, but to me it's an attainable goal to get there. Others, you're like, well, I can do way more, but like you said, yes, just doing the math, if you put in $7,000 away consistently over 30 years, you can get to that million mark. It actually will take you a little bit over.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then we hear these stories about people who have been teachers and somehow they paid off 6 figures of debt, even though their salary is like $40,000. So it's definitely possible, but it does, I think, take a level of discipline.
Yes.
And I definitely need a little more discipline for sure. For sure.
I mean, I feel like we all, right? There's always some level that we can improve on. But that's also, when I work with people, one of the things I constantly encourage them to do is have a vision. Because when you have a vision, I feel like it makes it stickier for you to actually do the activities required to get there.
Yeah.
And so, for whatever reason, when it comes to our finances, I feel like sometimes we have lofty visions, but we don't actually take time to really envision ourselves there, right? It's like, talking about hip hop. So growing up in this hip hop era, one of the things that I always love hearing is how they buy their mom's houses, right? They're like, oh yeah, I made it and I bought my mom a house, and you can feel any way about that. But I like that analogy because I just imagine them when they started, how much that kept them going, because you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have trials and tribulations. And especially in the music industry, there's nothing guaranteed. But to be able to put in the work to get there and then actually accomplish it is a beautiful feeling. It's a beautiful thing. And so I always like that analogy. And I tell people, I want to buy my mom a house. My mom has a house, fortunately. But to me, in my head, that just is me telling myself, I want to actually be able and be in a place to where I can accomplish and live like the bigger, larger dreams that I have.
Yeah. And what you made me think about when you were saying that is also celebration too.
Yes.
I feel like, for me personally, life felt like, or wealth felt like monopoly. Like I just kept attaining things and like doing all these different things that I thought were the right things to do, but I never took the time to sit back and celebrate the things that I have been able to do, or the things that I prayed for that now all of a sudden I have, or that I have accomplished, and then just never even thought about it. Again, never took the time to be like, you know what, I actually did that. Like I was at a dinner, and I think it was last year in March, I believe. And the woman she had written a book, and she was like telling her story, and she was saying that she retired her father. And then I sat back and I was like, wait, I retired my father too. But I didn't see that as
that's
something.
Huge.
I know. I'm like, oh my God. Like I actually was able to do that for my father, to be like, you need to retire. Like this is what you need to do.
Right.
And I just never even thought about it as a thing. I was like, oh, it's just something that you're supposed to do. Like my parents, I'm adopted. So my dad actually just turned 86 in December. So I was like, well, I don't want my dad to be working forever.
Yes.
And this was like 10 years ago, like over 10 years ago. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that I did that. And I never stopped to celebrate it. And I never thought about it as an accomplishment until this woman is talking about her story. And I'm like, oh, wait, actually.
You like, I did that. And see, I love that too, because I don't know what your finances look like, but even a lot of times, right, to do the math, it doesn't take as much as we might think. Like, I feel like a lot of times we feel like we have to be multimillionaires to do these type things. But no, like, I know people and I've worked with people to where they are not in that 7, figure space of consistent income or anything like that. But they've been able to take care of loved ones just by being intentional and having an idea, you know what? I actually want to set aside or create a way for me to be able to do this, and they do it.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't always require, because I know for me, I recently did math because my mom's also getting up there, and I was like, you know what? I know she set herself up to be good, but I was like, I want her to be like great. I want her to be extremely comfortable. And I started to do the math, and I was like, if I want her to live and be in a space to where she can just travel and do whatever she wants, it really actually didn't take as much money as I thought it would. And it actually surprised me. I was like, wait a minute, if I want her to be able to travel and go on and, not worry about anything, I'm going to put out a number, because I'm always hesitant to do numbers because depending on where you are, but $50,000, right? Don't get me wrong, like, that's money.
Yeah.
But
totally.
it's not impossible.
Right.
It's definitely not impossible. And when I realized that, I was like, wait a minute, I can figure out a way to get there. So to where I can do that. So it's definitely not impossible. And it doesn't always take as much money as we think.
Yeah, totally. So with that being said, can you share how wealth has transformed your life? And like how maybe you used to think about it before you shifted over into the financial services space?
Yeah. So for me, I'll start at kind of end and then start. So for me, wealth has transformed more than anything. What wealth does, money is a tool. It gives you options. It gives you more access. That's really, to me, how it's helped and transformed my life, because it does give you a level of comfortability, to be honest. But I also had to actually change my mindset around money. And so I did have to go on a own journey. And actually, it wasn't all surrounding money. It was more so surrounding around how I saw myself.
Yeah.
So I had to start with how I saw myself, and going back to what I was saying, what I thought, how I even perceived my value, and how I perceived the life that I wanted to live and the life that I was living. Because I had a moment, and it was so pivotal in my journey and why I bring it up, where I really had to sit and I had to think about, who am I? And like, what do I like? What do I enjoy? What do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And so from me really asking those questions of myself, it started to give me more focus. And so because I had more focus, it put me in a place to where I was able to then kind of focus in more on increasing my net worth and my assets. So I say all that to say I didn't start here. But as I was on a journey of really self-discovery, it made it easier for me to then say, you know what, actually, I can do this. And I will say this, I also was around different people. I was around having different conversations, because it's something about when you start to change, your taste and what you desire to be around also starts to change. And so it was all working together. So I encourage anyone who's on a journey, don't even necessarily start with money itself. Start with you.
Yeah.
Start with you, because as you really start to shift your mindset on, and even your worldview, I also read a lot of books, and I listen to a lot of podcasts. I love autobiographies, actually, because you're able to tap into these people who've done extraordinary things. You can really get an idea of how they think.
Yeah.
And so as you shift thinking and as you shift perspective, it does put you in a place where you can feel like and start to put in more intentionality around building your assets.
Yeah. What I find so interesting about all of the conversations that I've had and that I continue to have with Black women on this podcast is that the foundational thing that everyone says is self-discovery, being more conscious, because we are literally just unconsciously
moving throughout the world, not really thinking about anything. We are taking on the likes, dislikes, loves of other people that we're around, and we don't know who we are.
Yes.
And once you figure out and understand better who you are and your value, as you mentioned, then like everything else just starts to fall into place. Like you start to see these synchronicities. Like there's all these things that keep affirming, okay, girl, you going in the right direction.
Exactly.
That before you just couldn't see, and they were probably already there surrounding you, but you just never noticed because you didn't take the time to notice.
Yes. No, that's true. That's extremely true. And one of the things too, this may be unpopular, but I do think sometimes we have to also look outside of our community, for example, because don't get me wrong, y'all, I love Black people. I love Black women. Like, I love it. But I know for me, actually, one of the other pivotal moments was I was working at a bank. Didn't enjoy it, but I was there. But what happened was, as I'm working at a bank, you know, the thing about banking is that you really can't lie. Like, you see people's money. You see what they have. And what I kept seeing was people around my age or younger with 15,000 just sitting in savings or 20,000 just sitting in savings. And at the time, I had a couple hundred, and I was like, wait a minute, there is something off about this. And because I saw it and because I kept seeing it, it made me realize, I was like, well, if they can do it, what's the difference between them and me? And it put me in a space of, well, I can do it too. And the other thing was, I asked some questions. Well, naturally, I asked some questions because it was my job. But I wanted to know, what do you do? Like, how did you get here? Like, I just started asking questions around, what was your process? And because if I can pick up any little tidbits to help me along the way. Exactly. And, you know, you take in the information, and then you kind of cipher it into what you feel like works for you. But you also start to realize patterns.
Yeah.
And so that is a lot of it. I just was like, wait a minute. These people, and yes, there may be privilege and all these other things involved, but at the same time, I'm a Black woman. We can do anything.
We can do anything.
Exactly.
Literally.
So
yeah, we're going to make it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that kind of speaks to the last question that I want to ask you about, like, what homework would you give to a Black woman who is trying to build wealth, trying to change her mindset about wealth, trying to sustain wealth? Like, what are some of the things that you would tell her to do that she should focus on right now?
Yes. Okay. I love this question. I'm going to try to keep it concise. So, first thing, I would encourage you to create a net worth goal. So net worth, for anyone, it's your assets minus liabilities, and then what's left over is your net worth. So I encourage you to create a net worth goal. Why? And I want you to make it, like, just put out a number, because I want you to then envision yourself, the life you would live if you were at that goal. Like, if you were worth $50 million, for example.
Yes.
What would that version of Crystle look like? What would that version of Jasmine look like? And I want you to start to really, really sit in it and dream about what that looks like. And then I want you to create a plan to get there. Because when you have that clear vision and you have plan, and don't overload the plan, y'all. Like, have like three.
Don't put everything in there.
No, have like three good goals that you feel like will get you there, and start working it. Because ultimately, that's where, when it comes to budgeting, that if you have an actual plan in place, it makes budgeting easier. Because then I look at budgets as guardrails. Or even like when you look at businesses, they have some type of financial plan in place. And so look at your resources, look at money coming in, going out, and have your budget align with your actual goals. And then from there, manage your debts. I'm sure y'all have heard this.
Yeah.
Invest. And, well, I want to actually say increase your cash flow is extremely important, because whether you're at 6, whether you're at 5, whether you're, just getting started, increasing cash flow is going to be important because, of course, the more cash flow you have, the more you can do with investing in these other things. So increasing your cash flow, managing your debt, invest not in invest in the stock market, invest in real estate, invest in these different things. But I actually encourage people to start investing in themselves because create skill sets or, put yourself in a place to where you are able to increase your cash flow, which is, I feel like sometimes that's left out. But yes, you want to actually invest in yourself. You want to invest in these other vehicles to help you with building wealth and multiplying it in a way that just savings will not do.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things I would encourage you to start with. Yeah.
And what I will say, if you're doing the work that you need to do in terms of going inside and doing some self-discovery, you're going to discover some things that you love and that you could probably leverage to create things to increase your cash flow. Because I think a lot of times we're just focused on, I need to put food on the table, I need to pay these bills, and you're not really tapping into the creative side of you. But once you become more conscious, you're able to identify, what is my purpose? What are some of the things that I really love to do? What do people say that I'm really good at? And then you can leverage those skills to then increase your cash flow.
Exactly. And when I was listening, one of the things that came to mind is drowning out some of the noise. Drowning out the noise. And this is related, but I recently did a no spend challenge where me and my community, we went on 7 days of just no discretionary spending. And so with that, it actually helps to reset and pause because it's amazing how many little things you just purchase.
Yeah, that you just be swiping.
Exactly.
That's me. I know my wealth advisor probably listening. Ashley, girl, I just be swiping. I'm sorry.
But a part of that is, like you said, you just kind of go, you just kind of do, and not even thinking about it, especially, too, when you get to a certain level of comfortability.
Yes.
Like, when funds are tight, you're less likely to do it. But when you get to a certain level of comfortability, it becomes easier and easier because you're like, well, I'm putting money away. I'm doing the things I'm supposed to do. And I'm not one to say you need to live like a monk. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. Yeah. But I do feel like resets are important. Like I said, y'all, I'm going to go to church real quick because the Bible says there are some things are only revealed through prayer and fasting. And so I look at that even with your money.
Yeah.
And with that scripture in particular, prayer and fasting, some things are revealed. Going back to it, yes, of course, spiritually, downloads can happen. But I also believe there are things revealed about yourself. Because when you're fasting from food, you start to realize, wait, why are these cravings so much? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Why is my body going through withdrawals? Why do I even want this food in the moment? It's similar with money. Because I know for me, the first time I ever did a no spend challenge, I realized that it wasn't necessarily the not spending. I had to start asking myself, why was I wanting to make these purchases? And what I realized at that particular time, I was stressed. And so I was using it as just a way of kind of coping and avoiding the actual, things that were stressing me out. So it was nice for me to just go online and start looking at things and like, oh, I want this dress. This is really cute. I can wear it to brunch.
And that's why we're not going to brunch.
But I had to really start asking myself questions. And I feel like, to what you were saying, that noise or even taking time to actual pause and reset, a big part of it is just asking yourself questions. Like, why are you doing it? And like I said, doing it in and of itself, nothing wrong with it, but you do want to realize why. And also, if you're excessive, that is a problem.
Yeah,
but,
totally. Absolutely. I have definitely been working on, one of my goals is to not overconsume, because I have been the person that's like, oh, I like this outfit. Let me buy one in every color. And it's like, no, girl, you don't need one in every color.
I have this dress in 2 colors.
So 2 isn't excessive, but if you went to like 4 or 5, it would be a little more, more excessive. So you mentioned your community and doing the spin challenge. So if folks want to learn more about you, if they want to focus and lean in on building wealth or starting their journey towards wealth, where can they find you online?
So you can find me at jasminesmalls.com. So feel free to join my mailing list, jasminesmalls.com or LinkedIn. I'm primarily there, and it's just Jasmine Smalls, CFP, MPA, I believe. Mm-hmm. But you can find me. I have an afro. So
You do. I was looking for the afro today.
I know. You know, we switch it up.
We do.
So I was like, you had braids in your
cute,
picture.
Girl. Yes. So cute.
We split. But yes, you can find me there. Those are primarily the places. I was like, I have an Instagram, but I'm not up there for real.
Yeah, I feel that. But it was so wonderful to have this conversation with you. And I know that a lot of the folks who are listening in feel more comfortable about being able to attain wealth. Yeah. Especially if they've never seen anyone, again, being able to reach out and touch someone who really understood like building and sustaining wealth. So this conversation was so timely, and I appreciate you for being here.
No, thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, of course. And thanks to everyone who's tuning in to learning more about wealth as liberation, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of We Ain't Dying for This, a Black woman's guide to liberation. Catch up on previous episodes on the Living Corporate Network and on YouTube. You're also invited to join our exclusive community for access to early episode releases, exclusive content, live events, and more.